A Gallup survey this year found 51% of U.S. employees are watching or actively seeking a new job. And 34% of people surveyed said moving away from a bad manager or leader is very important when considering whether to take a new job. Here to discuss the employee-manager dynamic is Jamie Woolf, founder and CEO of Creativity Partners, a firm that helps organizations build healthy workplace cultures. Jamie was also the first director of culture at Pixar Animation Studios. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us in studio. I love this topic because it's one I think most people can relate to. So can you break down the financial impact of having a bad boss, whether it be for the employee, but also for the corporations?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the problem is massive. If you talk to employees, your average employee, about 75% will say that their boss is the most stressful part of their job. Not deadlines, not the work, the boss. So with bad bosses, there's really high turnover. And turnover, we know, is costly. The recruitment costs, the cost of onboarding, the cost of the downtime when we're replacing the employee. And then there's the healthcare costs. There's a study that shows that if you have a bad boss that causes you stress, you're 60% more likely to have a heart attack or another serious health issue. And not to mention the quiet quitting, so for the time that you're not enjoying this stressful boss, you're at the water cooler spending all your time talking about how much this boss is causing us all stress.
So let's say you do have a bad boss. What can you do to protect yourself, protect your mental health, but also make sure that you are performing and not falling into that quiet quitting trend?
Yeah. Well, it's difficult, and I would say it is a massive mental health crisis. It really is. It's one that we don't talk about, but because it's a mental health problem, find support systems at work. Find people who you can share the perspective with, not in a complaining kind of toxic way, but just people who can support your sense of self-worth. But one of the things that I think people neglect is to just try to give the boss feedback. That's always a good first step, is to say, look, when you shut my idea down, it makes me less likely to bring ideas up to you. And I know you want us to surface problems to you, but when you said to me, well, stop complaining, it makes me feel reluctant to continue to have an open door to you. The other thing is to document the conversation verbatim, not just to create a paper trail, but also just to remind yourself of your self-worth. You're not making this up. There's a pattern that you're now documenting. And the other thing is just to remember you shouldn't have to survive a bad boss.
Right. So with that, is there no other option really than to leave a company? Because I sometimes feel like if people bring it up, there's no immediate changes right away, right? And that could be frustrating, and that can trickle through in your performance at the office. So is that ultimately what you normally see happen?
It just depends, because there's so many kinds of bad bosses. There are bad bosses that you can reform with feedback, for example. So sometimes people complain to their friends, but they haven't even complained to the boss. So that's why I say, see if this boss is reformable. If it's a pattern and it is causing you sleep disruption, stress, there are so many people that I coach who have had really serious health problems. It is time to start writing your resume and get out. But I think there's also options within companies to look for jobs within companies. I don't recommend to people to stay with a boss where you've tried, it hasn't worked, and it just feels like your mental health is deteriorating.
And as a workplace, how do you foster an environment where you don't have negative leadership, that you're supporting your employees?
Yeah. Well, one thing, we work with companies, and so we talk to the executives. Stop promoting people who have a reputation of being a jerk. It's just not worth it. You can have bad bosses, you can have good bosses who get quality work, who are exacting, who have high standards, and who elevate and empower people. So you can have both, so start promoting those people and start hiring those people. And the other thing is, we've seen huge transformation with 360-degree feedback. So, bosses have blind spots. The higher up they go, the more distorted the truth, because people stop telling you the truth and they start nodding their head, laughing at your jokes. And so it's really important to give the feedback and have that be anonymous and make sure that the company is ensuring there's accountability, that there's action after the 360.
So is that key to keep it anonymous? Because you
Yeah.
probably have employees that are scared to speak the truth.
And they are. And so, 360 is suspect because even if it's anonymous, people are afraid. But that's what I've seen turn things around more than anything is a good 360 process.
All right, some great advice, Jamie Woolf.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.